just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pack Her Up, Boys. Time for a beer, baby. It's Friday. Let's get into it. Oh, that's good. It's still as good as the day that I created you, my son. It's still as good as the day I created you. Make sure to get into your local liquor store. Grab a case of Bloke beer. It is the beer of rugby league. Also, there's still some items from the winter drop left on the website. We're down to about 15% of all the stuff left. So we're getting down low numbers. And the thing with the drop is like winter's only just starting. So like as it gets colder, more people are going to be grabbing the kit. So it's going to sell out. So if you want to grab the kit, get in early. We got some hoodies, maroon hoodies. We got a blue shirt and a maroon shirt. And everything else is sold out. Everything else is sold out. So make sure if you want one, get one. Winter is just around the corner. The great Sandor has joined me. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, bro? I've been getting a few compliments on the kit, actually. The upgrade, the material.
Okay, mate. How good are they?
So good.
I have been, I know like people go, of course you say this. So look, you don't have to believe me. It's all good. But I've been getting a lot of messages going, the quality of the material and the cut and the fit is seriously high-level stuff. Like, it's genuinely high-level stuff, guys. Wait till you get it, and you'll be impressed with the drop. We have revamped our merchandise, and we want to make it high-quality clothing at as affordable price as we can get it. And the positive is, with as big a community as we have at Bloke, because we sell a much more units than smaller clothing brands. Like the reason why you see smaller clothing brands have such expensive clothing is they sell less amounts of clothing, so they need to make their margin bigger to make it worth it. So they make more money on each jumper or whatever, but they sell less of them. And so that's why it's so expensive. Whereas the positive about Bloke is we can have the same high quality material as the smaller, businesses, but because we sell more of them, we can make it cheaper than you. So like usually a hoodie like this from a small brand start up by yourself, you're looking at like 120, 140 bucks. That's how high quality it is. But because we sell more of them, we can actually do it at a cheaper amount than usual. So like I know $89.95 is still a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not, but compared to the quality of the material that you're getting, it's actually quite cheap.
Even my missus has been wearing them, mate. She's a tough critic.
There you go. Hey, if the misso's in, you know it's good. She'll be the first one to say, get that out of here. Also, a live show. We'll be having a live show at the Locker Room Hotel before State of Origin at 6 p.m. and it's going to be powered by myCOOLMAN. That is right. So the Locker Room Hotel, 6 p.m. Game 1 Origin. Myself, Roo, Timmy, Hammy, Matty, big live show. It's at 6 p.m. and it's powered by myCOOLMAN. And I am genuinely being honest here. This show would not have been put on if myCOOLMAN didn't partner with us. So if you're looking for one of the best coolers in the country, go to myCOOLMAN.com.au. Also, myCOOLMAN are giving away a Bloke branded cooler on the night, but you have to be following their Instagram. And they've also been kind enough, because I asked them, I said, look, can I get a discount? Because as I said, always say, guys, when I partner with companies, I say, can you give us some kind of incentive for the audience, some kind of offer, which can get them to your site, but also I want to be able to give the audience something as well. So they've been kind enough to give us Bloke 20 for you to use to get 20% off the myCOOLMAN 20 recreational series. So I think it's about $400 and you get about $89 off, around that price. And that sounds like a lot of money, but these are high quality. These are like high quality refrigerated coolers. So make sure to go to the site and grab one if you're keen. They're the best in the country, and also they're supporting us, guys. They also have single and dual zone fridges. Freezers are built to be powerful, robust, and ready for any adventure. Beyond fridges, their product lineup includes a range of ice boxes, drinkware, cooler bags, and even a rooftop air conditioner, all designed to keep you comfortable and for refreshment cool. They're a real adventure-based company, guys. So if you like to get outdoors, this is the company you use, myCOOLMAN. We're also going to attempt to live stream the show. We're going to see how it goes. We can't promise anything with the internet out there, so if it doesn't work, we apologise. We're going to attempt to live stream the show. But get down. Now, we were just talking before about someone had a partnership post on Instagram with a company, and it looks like they've just, and this is a footy player we're talking about, and it looks like they've just copy and pasted.
The old copy paste.
Where it's like literally got a link that you can't even go to into it, which is, look, I get it. You're partnered, you get the copy and paste, you don't want to stuff anything up, so you just copy paste into the caption. But before we started rolling, I was like, I want to speak about this. I can't believe if you are an NRL player on, let's say, 600K. We'll say 600. That's a lot of money, a lot of money. I'd even go as low as 500K. What I can't believe is why don't these blokes pay someone to take care, to literally be their social media person? You pay someone 80 grand a year. Like, that's a lot. You could even go lower than that, and it could be almost like a close to full-time, part-time job for them. 50 to 80K a year, you're telling me that they aren't going to generate substantially more revenue for you than that 50 to 80K a year that you pay them per year?
It's the dream. But I don't think they understand that. And you'd hope that there was some mentorship or their managers would be teeing them up. Literally that alone. And if you've got a good following, realistically, if you're on that kind of money and you're doing the right things, you might have a good following. You can make and leverage so much money for just the simplest of content.
Mate, I'll tell you this right now. Reece Walsh, if he actually got a manager to take care of his stuff, he started vlogging, all that stuff. And look, I understand, teams don't like it that much because they say, it could be a distraction or whatever. Yeah. But look, we're in a new age. It's done. That argument was lost 10 years ago, in my opinion. If he actually sat down and was like, I want to hire someone to take care of my staff, post and everything, keep my posting, he will be substantially more rich. He would make substantially more money from his content game than he will from rugby league.
100%. Those brand deals and collaborations would be
Reece
so
Walsh?
much more appealing.
Are you telling me, do you understand the amount of money brands would pay Reece Walsh to be the face of it? Like, for example, why isn't he the next Calvin Klein model in Australia? Or whatever fragrance you want, why isn't Reece Walsh that?
Yeah, I agree with those eyes.
He could be the most marketable person in Australia right now.
Like,
he could be.
He has movie star looks. Like, even if he wasn't playing rugby league, he has still got those looks. He's young. He's a highlight reel. It's like a marriage. It's like Conor McGregor, why he was so big. He wasn't just big because he talked the game. He wasn't just big because he was like one of the first from Ireland. He was big because he knocked people out. Like, if he was a wrestler that wrestled people to decisions and submissions, there's nowhere near Conor. There's no way he's as big as he is. You know why? Because he went out there. He's a highlight machine.
Yeah, and Reece Walsh is a highlight reel as well.
He's a highlight machine. And so some of these boys, I'm like, if you hired someone to take, even if it was a part-time thing, to take care of your stuff, 50 grand a year. So let's say instead of earning 600K a year, you earn 550K a year. It's a business as well, so you can claim it, all that stuff. You would actually earn way more money that year. The brand deals you'd get, because like what you could say, take care of my Instagram and my face here, my TikTok and everything, but also I need you to go out and get brand deals for me.
I reckon he'd 4x to 50.
Easy. And then also the following that, because like a lot of players would have followings if they actually provided content to their followers. Yep. Like for example, my personal page, I never use it. And so it doesn't have that many, like it's got 38,000 followers or whatever. Yep. But that's just people that just follow because of the podcast. If I actually provided content of like my life, it'd be substantially more. And there's so many other players like that as well, that if they actually provided content for people to consume, they'd have way bigger followings.
So that's a good example, and it's veering away from rugby league a bit, but Dave Warner's obviously huge, but he's easily the most followed cricketer, I think possibly the most followed Australian sportsman besides one or two people on social media, because he's got so many Indian fans. So on TikTok, he caters to them and does like little TikTok videos of Bollywood content. Yeah. And that's how he gets all his followers.
And the crazy thing is, like, is Dave Warner the most charismatic? Like, no, he's not. Like he's not bad either. Like, but he's just providing content for people. And so I just, sometimes when I look at these footy players, I'm like, boys, you are missing out on, like, for example, if I had to start a management company right now, a lot of management companies provide accountants and all that kind of stuff. So obviously you'd provide that. I'd be providing a content manager that takes care of, like, and they're good, not some old dude that's like, what's Instagram? Well, how do I get onto the interwebs? I'd be literally hiring a young guy that's a gun content creator that literally his full-time job would be to get around and create content for all his clients, and he takes care of their social media.
Yep.
Like,
and you'd align with one of those agency managers from an influencer agency who are constantly getting jobs, constantly going out to brands. If you did that and you aligned that with your audience and leveraged it, mate,
you'd make so
no one's
much
doing
money.
It either.
No one's doing it, which is, and I've been saying this for years. Get a guy and like, as I said, when you retire, how big your audience will be. And the crazy thing is you own it. Like, I know you don't own it because you don't own your Instagram, but that audience is purely there for you. So like, it's one thing to work for someone, which is fine. Like, I've worked for someone or whatever. But if you can own something, the value in that is like substantially more than having to just constantly worry about getting jobs and like I said, which is like, there's two ways. Obviously, the stresses that come with that. But put it this way. Let's say Reece Walsh retires and he has 1 million followers on Instagram. Let's say he wanted to be a PT. Imagine
you're good.
He would honestly need to hire immediately a team underneath him to be able to take care of all that. And that's why when I started my podcast, I was thinking, look, at the worst, and I know people laugh at this shit, but I don't care. At the worst, I could advertise my electrical company to 2,000 people. Like if I got 2,000 downloads a week, 2,000 more people know about my electrical company. If I have 100 jobs a week as a Sparky company, that's hectic. Yeah. That's hectic. I was going to go, I was going to go into? I was going to electrical company, and I was going to go into like cyber/home security because I felt like we're getting so paranoid about like getting broken into and getting hacked and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, man, I reckon there's a lot, like, because how much would you pay to keep your wife safe or your partner safe? Whatever it took.
Well, unlimited. Yeah,
whatever it took. So it's like there's so much money in security, so much money in security. Anyway, so that's what I was going to do. That's my little rant. I don't know, boys. Am I?
No, it's good. And go one step further and see, once you've set up that profile and that audience, start to think about what do I want to leverage this to? Is it a product? Is it a business? That's not rocket science. That little play-by-play framework, if someone could get around a player like Reece Walsh and go, hey, let's do this, let's add this in, let's have someone to manage the content. You don't have to do anything, be yourself, commit a little bit of time, we'll set it up around you, we'll leverage some brand deals, but then, hey, what is it something that you're interested in that 3-5 years time we could set up a business or a product around you? Hey, you're set.
I've already got Walshy's product. I'm not going to say it. Walshy, reach out. I could make you a millionaire if you're willing to work. Because the product that I'm thinking of, it would fly, especially still got so many, I'll tell you off air, but mate, it would absolutely fly. Look, we've just come back on the air, guys. I've told them the idea. They said it's worth millions, even billions. Yep. So Walshy, reach out, mate. Reach out. And same with guys like Ezra Mam. Like, he is super marketable, those boys up there. Other guys like for example, Suoliti. Why isn't he in a perfume ad? He's so freaking handsome.
And bro, people just want to follow the journey. They want to be a part of it.
I want to be a part of it. I could see Suoliti in like a tuxedo ad for like suits and shit.
I remember when we saw him at the Dally M's a couple of years ago, and he was with Payne Haas.
So handsome.
And I'm pretty sure he might have been taller than him.
He's big, mate. He's huge.
How tall?
Huge.
Didn't realise.
Mate, I could see another one I'd had as well is Cam Murray. He could do like a skincare product.
Oh, yeah.
And skincare product. I reckon him or Suoliti, even Joe Manu. Skincare gods. Mate, he's there. And like, I think people get a bit daunted on like having to create their own product. Like, I think they've still got the mindset of 20 years ago. Whereas like technology has changed so much. Creating your own product actually isn't as hard as you think it is. It really isn't. Anyway, who gives a shit? Bloke Multi and Feed. Make sure to give us a follow on Sportsbet Feed. We've got the Bloke Multi up. You can copy it. Go to Feed. Go to more. Give us a follow. Takes 2 seconds. And it's a bit of fun. You can see, you know what? You can see how bad I'm at punting or how good I am at punting. And also, as I always say, it is the best way. So when we go to renegotiate with Sportsbet and extend the partnership, we can go have a look at these numbers. This is the bloke community getting around Sportsbet. So it'll take you 2 seconds. And also, the Feed product, it's awesome. They've got Volkanovski on there. They've got Hammy on there. They got a bunch of different people on there. So it's a really cool feature. And it takes 2 seconds to give us a follow. Alrighty. Eels defeat the Sharkies. Honestly, it was like a different team. You literally it was seriously like watching, is this the Parramatta Eels that rolled out last week? It was a totally different side. I'd go as far to say as like, Mitch Moses is more important to the Eels than Nathan Cleary is to the Panthers.
Ooh.
Like, look
that's evidence in the last 2 weeks.
Look at the Panthers play. Like, don't get me wrong. Nathan Cleary with the Panthers is a much better side. But, like, the Panthers can win games and almost still be a favourite. Like, for example, after last week, Penrith Panthers, everyone would say they were still the favourites to win the comp.
Yeah.
Nathan Cleary didn't even play. He didn't even play. That's insane.
If Cleary was out for the season,
I'd still have them favourites.
They'd certainly be my top four, for sure.
They'd still be my favourites.
Yeah.
Seriously, they'd still be my favourites.
Which is crazy.
Because that forward pack, when they get to going in that back line, it's just unstoppable.
But Eels without Eels without Moses.
Like wooden spoon.
Real bad.
Like,
actually.
They were so bad.
Wooden spoon. And look, and for all the people that are losing their minds, I'm not saying Moses is a better player than Cleary. I'm just saying in relation to their team, he's more important to the Eels because he was phenomenal. And I'm sure there's a lot of Blues fans out there going,
I have been thinking that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can parachute him into camp in case Nico goes down. Like, surely we can. You'd have to do it today.
yeah.
But, like, why not? There's only one genuine 7 in that Blues squad, and that's Nico Hines. So why can't we bring in Mitch Moses to cover for him?
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I tell you, would you go as far to say is maybe they should have given him until this week to, I know they've got to name the team.
Would you have picked him over Nico at that point?
After last week's game with Nico, probably. If Moses played last week
Both of them played, yeah, and he
and he
pulled
played
that
like
off.
that well, I probably
Well, imagine if this game was last week and they both played.
I would say though, I probably would have gone Moses, Nico at 6 though, and Moses at 7.
Oh, that's the dream combo for
See,
me.
I reckon that
Clear it out.
because like we know Nico, he's played fullback. Like
Yeah.
him, one wider of the ruck.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that and then that kicking game, Moses can take care of that.
I wonder if this has been the Blues. I mean, we'll know today if it's been the Blues plan all along. Like, Moses couldn't play last week, so Madge's like, all right, let's just see if he plays well against the Sharks, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm hearing
possible.
Hines is sweet, good to go.
Yeah.
Good to go?
Good to go. Yeah, he's
Okay.
locked in. He's locked in. Man, isn't it such an interesting There's so many different storylines in this New South Wales side compared to the Queensland side, in my opinion.
It's always the
Yeah.
way, bro, too.
Like the Queensland one, it's like there's not really much yarn about like things could change or whatever. Like, for example, Jerome Luai could go from the most polarising player in New South Wales to the most loved player if he goes out and kills it this series. Because Luai's the kind of guy, if he's on your team, you love him to death.
Yeah.
Like, so New South Wales people will be like, we love this guy to death. Yeah, okay, he's a bit rogue and he says some things, but that's our rogue guy. Like, for example, he would be your version of Munster. Like,
Well,
even though Munster doesn't do like similar stuff and he's not as polarising, but he does have that big moment in him, Luai.
I remember a few years ago, and it was pretty grubby, but when he stood over, I think it was Kafusi or someone.
Yeah.
I put it
Selwyn Cobbo.
a Cobbo. Yeah, whatever. No, sorry, it wasn't that one. It was the year before where he was like pointing and laughing at Kafusi. Anyway, I put that as my Facebook cover photo for a year.
Yeah, because
Like,
he's
I
your
loved
guy.
it, yeah.
He's your guy. And it's, you know what? Finally, we're giving it to Queensland.
Yeah.
We're not respecting them. It's like when Clemmer came on all those years ago
Oh, it was
and he
the
was
best.
mouthing off at Corey Parker. And there's always this kind of feeling that New South Wales show too much respect to Queensland. And so, like, what an incredible storyline if we get out of this series and Luai becomes one of the most loved.
And it's a possibility, 100%.
100%
100% a possibility. And then you got the other storyline, Nico Hines. Everyone's saying he's not a big game player. And granted, there have been big games where, although he's played well, his team hasn't got the job done. And then obviously the last game before Origin, he had a poor game. Imagine he comes around and just turns the state
I
around.
hope so, man.
Fucking oath I hope so.
Fuck.
I hope he only wins, but I hope he plays extremely
Yeah.
well. Similar-ish to Moses last year where you had a lot of negative chat around Moses. He came out, played well, and everyone's like, oh, I love Moses now, you know?
Moses, Blues fans think Moses could be the saviour now, based off last year.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, like, there's just so many different stories. Madge, the new coach, Jake Trbojevic being named captain, you know, questions around should have he even been selected.
Teddy being
Teddy
dropped.
being dropped. Yeah, so there's just so, like,
That
I
hasn't
can't
got
wait.
as much media and chat as I thought it would.
Oh, you thought it'd be bigger?
Yeah, I think so.
Look, I think
Which does that, you know, that speaks volumes, I think.
Look, I think a lot of people just felt it was just time for change.
Time for change.
Like,
I was saying that to Matty. I think the direction that's gone, whether we agree with every selection, I at least like that it was, okay, let's just go for the change. Because what have you got to lose? We either keep the same team, there's blow-ups that we didn't change,
Yeah.
or we go for the change and it's like, well, we had to try.
Yeah.
Maybe because we've been speaking about it since basically Origin last year, and then when the bubble burst, it just happened. The opposite, when Fox got dropped 2 years ago, everyone was shocked. So people spoke about that for the year. So maybe because we've
I
kind of
think
been
also,
speaking about
like,
it.
You know, there's a clear direction. Like, there's been some people commenting saying, like, fully anti-Jake Trbojevic. I love Jake Trbojevic. He's
Yeah.
a great player. And he's a hairbreadth away from being in my starting 17. But that doesn't mean I don't think he's a good player and he can't do a good job. And so, like, that storyline of selecting Jake Trbojevic, if it works out, like, that's a very, like, clearly thought out decision to put him, Jake Trbojevic, there, because he's such a, you know, out of all the players, you know, who bleeds blue the most? I think if you did a fan vote before this weekend, you would find that most fans believe he bleeds blue the most.
For sure.
And so I think Madge knows that. And so I would love more than anything for Jake Trbojevic to go out there and lead from the front and kill it. And he genuinely may do it.
I think across the board too, Kemby, there must be a level of respect that he has. Like, he's played for Australia, he's had his mix and match with other teams. I think across the board they made a decision and go, like, Jake, he's loved, he's respected, and it just makes sense for the selection of every player in that team. So, I mean, I like the choice. We didn't have him originally in the team. Guru was going hard, but you can't go wrong with Jake in your side.
I get the thinking with Jake Trbojevic.
100%.
But if you took away, let's say you took away the fact that he bled blue and you just looked purely at performance, that's where I'm like, okay, if you had made this decision 2 to 3 years ago, I'd say, yeah, he's in his prime, he's good.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, is he a little bit past his prime? We'll find out. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's good to go and he kills it. I do also think once they bring Isaiah on the field, like, he can bend the line, Isaiah. Like, although he is not as quick as some of the other forwards, you go back to against the Sharkies, in the first 20 minutes, he had the most meters. I think he had the most tackles, hadn't missed any. Like, he can absolutely bend the line. And I do believe, like, although the starting pack, as in the front row 3 for New South Wales, is probably not as explosive as Queensland, I believe New South Wales bench is more explosive than Queensland's bench.
More dynamic for
Definitely.
sure.
Way more dynamic.
Yeah.
Like Spencer Lenu, Ola Kawatu, Hudson Young. Are you serious? Like,
Leno could do anything, good
compared
or
to
bad, but
Fodawaker, Hopgood, and Selwyn. So you take like Fodawaker, Hopgood. Fodawaker, he's relatively explosive, but not known to skittle defenses. And Hopgood, he's a battler, he's a worker. Like, and so that's where if nothing goes wrong, the Blues could completely steamroll Queensland because their bench is so explosive. But the problem is if something does go wrong, then it'll be, you either need Hudson Young to play out of his skin in the outside backs, which, the funny thing is Queensland players have done that in the past. They've gone out to the edge and they've defended Kurt Catewell a few years ago, and that could be the case. And Hudson Young, we talk about being origin made. I do believe he is. Or, Billy Slater could be seen as a genius. One of our outside back go down, and Selwyn Cobbo just absolutely tears. Could you imagine if he comes on and also tears New South Wales apart?
I've had nightmares this week about Reece Walsh getting injured and Cobbo playing even better. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Cobbo just goes straight out.
Yeah,
or
seriously.
Hammer goes back there and Cobbo goes to centre.
Yeah.
to your point on the bench, I think it's been a few years since we've got the interchanges right for New South Wales. I think that's always been a pain point for us.
Big time.
And I think he's still kind of struggling with it. Now, Madge has got a very clear way he's going to play, and it's a big gamble, but it could pay off. It genuinely, the thing that I like about it, and I know Origin people get so passionate and they think that I'm like fully negging New South Wales. Like, I'm not. I'm an analyst talking about the pros, the cons, what's good, what's bad. But the thing that I like about Madge, even though I disagree with some of the selections, as in I would have had someone else differently, but what I like about it is you can tell his process of thinking for his selections. And that's what I like. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to play a power game through the middle and just bash the door down, big outside backs, and win the game by 2 points if he has to. And so, whereas sometimes I feel in the last couple of years, when you saw that team get selected, you're like, what kind of team is this? Like, how are they going to play? I think anyone that watches rugby league for even a little bit more than one game a week, looks at the New South Wales side and says, I know exactly how they're going to play. And that's what I like about the selection.
And that was the difference last year. Like, Queensland, there was that game plan that we could all see, and that's how they won. And New South Wales there wasn't an obvious one.
So, like, even if you guys lose this year, I don't think you should be calling for Michael Maguire's head, because he can, as long as he comes out and goes, you know what, I had a specific game plan, it didn't work, I'll make adjustments next year. The problem with the years prior is that, like, there wasn't really I'm sure internally there was, but externally I couldn't see a specific game plan. So it's like, well, what do you tinker with when there isn't a very obvious way you were trying to play? Like, if you get through this series and it doesn't work out, you can go back, all right, game one, we should have had a utility on the bench. I'll learn from that. I'm going to put a utility on the bench game one next year. Maybe our forwards that started weren't as mobile as the modern forwards. Like, the one area I do think Queensland has an edge is I do think that Cotter, Carrigan and Collins are probably a tier above at the moment, playing form-wise, Trbojevic and McGuinness. I think Yo is on their level, but I think Cotter, Lindsay and Carrigan are in, like,
I agree with that.
top tier of their
Queensland's
position.
got a red hot side.
In saying that, Jake Trbojevic and Cam McInnes, maybe like they have been selected not necessarily to be in that top tier. They've been selected to just be the best defenders on the field. Just be the best defenders on the field, which they can do for 20 minutes. And guess what we do? Then we bring on this crazy explosive bench and hopefully go over the top of Queensland. And so, as I said, the positive with Michael Maguire is there's a plan. You can see it from here. And if there's some errors here or there, okay, we lost game one, we recalibrate, we change those errors, and we go from there.
I'll tell you what I'd love to see. Give us a New South Wales-like version of Origin Gags or Benny Hunt or Val Holmes, where they're never not playing well, but then in Origin they're just fucking superstars.
Mate.
Like, give us a couple of those stories for New South Wales. That'll be the difference, where all of a sudden, like a Trbojevic just goes Origin.
Yeah, like Tommy Trbojevic and Lachola, those two players that bloody do that. And like I think one of the most underrated weapons of Queensland for this period, it's Ben Hunt.
Yeah.
It changes our whole lineup. We can afford to carry Benny Hunt on the bench that can play 9, 6, 7, or 13 at a pinch. Like, that is such a luxury. And that's why Connor Watson going down was like such a blow, because I've heard that he was absolutely in the side.
Yeah.
He was locked in the side. And that just gives you such a luxury on your bench. Like, if you can carry a 14 that can cover anywhere, then you can go the power game. You don't need to worry about it. You know,
so good.
So good. So,
Fuck, I hope. If that's the case, I hope we see Connor Watson play game 2 then. Unless, I mean, if they win, they might not change it, but he's only out for a few weeks. There's every chance he could play this year.
yeah.
100%.
I would love to see him make his Origin
Yeah, it'd be
debut.
so good.
As I said, even though there's a few things that I would do differently, doesn't mean I don't see why those players are in there. And also doesn't mean that I think those players will be bad at what they're going to do. And so I like the direction Michael Maguire. It's the only thing I'm a bit iffy on, and this is getting really nitpicky here, but like going out to the Blue Mountains, like, I know you want players to be locked in 24/7 for Origin, but geez, they got a lot of downtime just sitting around in the Blue Mountains. Like, for example, Queensland are on the Gold Coast. You know, the boys will be happy. They finish training, they go down to the beach, go for a walk, go for a ride. It's a pretty bloody good environment to be in. I know Coogee, there's an argument made, they walk off and they do their own things, but geez, you don't want to. And look, the proof will be in the pudding. If Michael Maguire comes out and kills it, it was a great decision. And we'll sit there and we'll say it's a great decision.
There's a heap of those, though.
Yeah, the proof will be but you don't want them to have played the game a million times in their head before Wednesday night comes. And if you're sitting around the Blue Mountains with not much to do all day, just thinking about the game, you might be emotionally exhausted before you even get there. And so, yeah, I get the idea of, we want them locked in, we want them thinking about it 24/7, but they're also human beings. You need them to be happy. You need the morale to be up. And so that's,
Can't
I guess,
compete with a little fucking Gold Coast camp prior to the game,
mate,
can ya?
what a life! Like, what a life for the boys to just be on the Goldie. They work hard, go down to the beach, enjoy it. So, look, as I said, the proof will be in the pudding. If they come out and they're absolute dogs
Dialed
out there
in, yeah.
and they're dialed in, then boom, what a call!
Masterstroke.
Exactly. So, but it is a question that I have in regards to the preparation. Will it be too intense for a group of young men that they are intense, but you need to let them chill a little bit.
Yeah.
I reckon it's worth a shot though, because they've been in Coogee the last few years. Before the Freddie era, they went up to, I think, Kingscliff, so they did move away, but that was on the beach, so I think it's worth a shot, just throwing him in the mountains and seeing what happens.
I love the Coogee part. I think it's too
Dangerous.
much.
Coogee's
It's too
dangerous.
much, bro. And, it's just no good. But the only thing is, there's a lot of new players working together. So the time to actually bond and spend some time together, I agree with what you're saying, but hopefully that time period isn't too much to make it like, we're over it. Hopefully it's just enough where they actually have to spend some time together, they bond, they get to know each other. So,
because I'm thinking of like a whole series out there. That's a rough gig.
they can't, will they?
Well, they go on a camp each time.
I would suspect they'd be there the whole time.
But again, they win and it's a masterstroke.
But like, you get through the first one at
Yeah.
Blue Mountains, and you're like the next. We got to go back out to Blue Mountains.
It's pretty cold out there as well.
It's cold
Yeah,
as shit.
it ain't-
Look, as I said, I don't know. I don't fall in. It was a good idea or a bad idea yet, because I don't know. Like, we'll wait and we'll see. The camp I fall in is it is a big play, and it will have an impact on how they are emotionally when they run out for game one.
Meditating, bushwalks, hot springs, that's all happening.
It's all happening. I mean, imagine how many games of golf they're having out there. They would just be going round and round and round. But you could, as I said, it absolutely could turn into a masterstroke. It could be like, we got them out of Coogee, we got them talking to each other, hanging out with each other, building that foundation of like what it means to be a Blues, and it could be the start of something special for New South Wales. I'm definitely not averse to that being a potential.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope.
Like it could be. As I said, even if I wouldn't have done everything Madge has done, what I like is the directness, the very obvious and clear path that he is taking. I like that. Like
Intentional.
Exactly. It's all intentional. Very clear. The message is strong to the fan base. The message is strong to the players. I like that.
Well, you got an opportunity, line in the sand. Let's forget a bit of change.
Yep.
This is our opportunity to take a shift.
And you live and die by the sword.
Yeah.
If you make intentional decisions,
I think that's the only choice he had.
100%. You can't go in half-assed going, maybe I should do this because I don't want to piss off this.
Just go all guns blazing.
Go all the way in.
It works.
And again, the best way, like, if it doesn't work out, if you go all the way in, it's much easier to see where you went wrong. Whereas if you're all scattershot, it's like, was this the thing? Like, was it? Was it preparation? Was it Coogee? Was it not Coogee? Like, you go to the Blue Mountains and let's say it doesn't work out. You might say, okay, it was probably a little bit too intense there. Instead of taking him to Coogee, I'll take him to Kingscliff or somewhere else like that. Or if it does work, you go, mate, Blue Mountains every year, we build our base out there and we really start to begin to build a heritage out in the Blue Mountains.
Build a legacy 100%.
Okay, Eels beat the Sharkies. Mitchell Moses was outstanding. He was absolutely bulletproof out there. But I thought Will Pensini out in the centre.
He was ridiculous.
Jeez.
I'm a big fan, He's such a gun.
I wish Simonson got that ball down because that would have just capped the perfect game for
100%.
Pensini.
Mate,
Jesus
he
Christ.
was so good. And just a reminder, like, he was one of the best coming through. He's still like 21, I think.
He's the same age as Suliti, right?
I don't know. I think he's
Is
a year
he?
older, maybe.
Yeah.
Year
I'll have a
older.
look.
So he's young
Yeah,
super young. But yeah, 21 years old. So I thought he was outstanding. And as I said, just a reminder, like,
Yeah, 21.
you often talk about, Para have got no outside backs or whatever, but they do have outside backs, but they just don't have enough of the outside backs. So I think Zach Lomax coming, him and Lomax in the centres, I like that.
Love that.
That's one of the best in the comp.
Well, yeah.
It could be.
We'll see. I'd probably say you got Staggs, Selwyn. I'd probably have them ahead. Then you got May, Tungall. Probably have them ahead. Who else? Roosters, you've got Manu.
Nah, not next year.
Oh, he's gone next year. Apologies. Who are they? Billy
Going to
Smith.
mid-season.
He'll be back.
Yeah, back in July.
He'll be back 100%. I have my theories about that whole situation. I think it's all a bit strange. Let's just put it that way.
Very. But they definitely could be right up there.
Yeah. Both at their best, because like Lomax is currently, playing incredibly. I know he's on the wing, but he's playing incredibly. And Pensini, if he keeps growing the way he is, I thought there was one I have to talk about it. I know I'm being negative, Nancy. There was one situation that I was like, man, this is just like so frustrating with Sivo. So they defend really well. They hold Sharks in their own 40, like just fully. The para forwards are just sprinting off the line. It's an incredible set from the para forwards. So they kick it. Sivo gets the ball in like probably like the 30 or 40.
Yeah.
And he just jogs back.
Yeah.
What? That was so bad. I would love to hear him explain, like, hey, bro, why did you do that?
Like, bruh, after your forwards have just busted their asses, and like, and as I've got it in my notes, this thing that's tough is he scores a try that same set.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it just erases it.
And he does what he's supposed to do. Jonah Lomu's a fullback.
And so it's like, bro,
It's like, bruh.
you can run like that when you're going to score a try. Why don't you bloody run like that when your boys have just busted their ass?
And,
Like,
bro, that's why you're there. That's what you're known for. Like,
he
you
used
are
to do that.
Yeah,
He used
flying
to.
into people. Don't know what's going on there.
it must be a
Strange.
concentration thing. Like, he must just not be thinking, like, ball's coming, all right, kick return. He must not be like thinking.
Someone needs to remind him, bro, you're made of concrete. You're on the field for this reason.
Bro, you're a front rower on the wing. Like, just run it hard and straight. You'll
Own
probably bust it. So, like, as I said, I'm being negative Nancy. I'm nitpicking there.
I think I heard the commentary say, like, at once upon a time at his peak, players were seeing him coming back fearful.
no,
of,
thank
like,
you.
Fuck, don't run at me,
Yeah.
don't run at me.
And so,
You
like,
can't lose that.
little things like that, like, that's why Para are at where they're at. Is like, there's another situation where, like, their kick chase, like, off a kickoff 7 minutes to go. Anyway, that's being negative Nancy. The positive is, they were way better. They played like a top 8 side. They played like a top 8 side. Junior Paulo, that try with Moses. What about just like, bro, people just skittled off him.
Yeah.
Like, that's the junior polo we know. Holy.
Yeah, 5 people just
Just
gotta get
boom,
near him.
5 people. And even after that initial first contact, more people tried to come on, and they also got skittled. So even after the first contact, people were getting skittled. I thought that was outstanding. Obviously, Guther. Look, isn't it funny how quickly you forget? Like, there were some people, oh, no, I'd keep Talangi there, Blaze Talangi. And look, I get that argument. But, like, you see Gutho back there, you're like, look,
Gutho's
still the best fullback at the club. Like, I know we get excited about the young guys coming through, and he should still be getting experience. But, look, I said from the get-go, if his body is sweet, you keep him at fullback. He doesn't get enough credit for the work he does.
And Moses complements him as well. Like, them two back in the game was a difference.
Perfectly. So, yeah, like, great performance. I thought Offengawe's first 20 was outstanding. I like Offengawe at 13. Hands at 9.
Oh, he was so good. He
Finally.
was so good.
Bro, how long ago were we saying, friggin' give the bloke a crack? And then, like, randomly, Brad Arthur just, like, dropped him.
Yeah.
He played good footy last year, and then he just got dropped. And then ever since then, he's just never been given a crack. Finally gets a crack. Him and Moses were outstanding. Like, as a para fan, you must be just going,
Pulling your hair out.
Jesus.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, it does make it pretty clear why Penrith Panthers parted ways with Brad Arthur before Moses and Guther got back, though. Because clearly they're going, we got to do it before they get back. Because when they get back, if they start playing well, we can't sack him when they're playing well.
Wow, yeah.
So it makes it pretty obvious what's happened.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to get rid of him before they
eh?
come back. Because everyone's sitting there going, why would you sack Brad Arthur when he doesn't have literally 2 of his best players playing? If they had have waited and they come out and put this performance on, you can't sack him.
No.
So I think it's all calculated. I think it's all calculated. And I think Brad Arthur
because it makes the most sense to just let Brad Arthur have the season.
Yeah, it does.
But you're right. If they go on a run and they come 5th and get knocked down in week 2 of the semis, how do you
That
sack
had
him?
to be a factor. I still want to know, there has to be something in the works that they've got almost concrete.
Surely.
Has to be.
Like, you don't get rid of a coach like Brad Arthur,
Nah,
who,
unless you got something in the works.
because he's not bad. Like, he's a good, solid NRL coach. You've surely got to have something in the works. Like, there's just
I still
they'd
think
have
he
to.
ends up at Manly, like you said, too.
yeah, you might end up at Manly. It depends what happens with Manly this year. If they miss the 8 again, I reckon Seabold will probably go.
I agree.
Dylan Brown's last try, just boom, boom.
Lovely.
He's such a good ball runner. The Sharkies, look, I think it's just one of those situations where they got to ride it out. Like, I think things are just, they had 100% completion rate until like the 65th minute. So their completion rate is what kept them in the game. So they're doing the right things when it comes to the tough stuff. Obviously, defensively, they've still got to work on some stuff, and that's fallen away a little bit. But I think it's just one of those areas where you just got to ride it out. Like, it's a tough time. Don't get too down on yourself. Yes, you got the Broncos next week, but they're very beatable. I'm pretty sure it's Broncos. Don't allow this to get you too down because you've done such good work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, disappointing. You know,
Yeah, Broncos at Suncorp next Saturday.
yeah, so, like, a disappointing loss for sure. But in saying that, they're not at a stage where they're supposed to be perfect yet. Well, they've lost 3 games now.
3 altogether, yeah.
3 altogether. Like, you know, I get it's para, but this is para with Moses and Gutho. Like, this is not
And
the
Para
same
were great.
Yeah,
They had
like,
a good night.
They were great.
Their offloads were killing the Sharkies. Like, just killing it.
I
Sharks
agree,
had-
though.
yeah.
That's who they are now, the Sharks. Like, that's that consistency in defence, in completions, that's who they are. So these losses definitely don't reflect where they're at.
And I just got to, as I said, just roll with the punters right now. It's a little bit of a tough period, but you get through this, you get your confidence back up, and you start peaking again. Because they clearly have peaked pretty early.
Yeah.
They've just got to get back to that point.
There was some last night, like Calero missed a really bad one, but he's usually pretty. He's pretty. Illo.
Yeah, so roll the R.
I'll cut that bit out.
No, it's all right. That's keep it in.
Okay.
Because the thing, we're Australian. Like,
Yeah.
it's a language that is
Try
our
again,
own.
though.
So,
I want to hear it rolled.
Illo.
Yeah.
Illo.
Like Moldy.
Moldy. Illo.
Yeah, there you go.
Illo.
As long as you give it a try. I'll
Okay,
be happy with that.
He had a really bad miss, but he's been quite good to start his career in defence. There was a couple of one-on-one misses that were diabolical, but pretty uncharacteristic by a few players.
But it's going to happen in the year.
That's what I mean,
You're going
yeah.
to get bumped off by someone at some stages. At least he's put his body in the front. He got bumped. That happens. Like,
I thought, although they executed well, there was a bit of a gap in the kicking game with the halves pairing that they had.
well, for
you know.
sure,
I
for
thought
sure.
that definitely.
there was one
Didn't
period.
help
You know, I thought Hamlin Welle So he did that flick pass, was incredible to get him back in the game.
Yep.
But then he dropped the ball cold, and then I think that same set doesn't fill in from marker, and that's where Dylan Brown scores his try with the double left foot step. And it's just moments like that where I look at the Sharkies and go, just like the game was in the balance. You fought so hard. You did that incredible play, and then you just switched off for one set. Game gone. Game gone. And this, you can see, like he doesn't fill in from marker. He actually falls back, which creates the space for Dill to step into, and then Nikora over chases and gets stepped as well. And just that little moment where that is the tiny thin line between a top tier side that's a premiership threat and not a premiership threat. And so they just got to find ways to fix those moments in games, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, how good was that fucking Ronaldo Kennedy try?
Oh my God.
It's got to be one of the better end-to-ends.
For sure.
Mate,
Like,
that was...
stop
Look,
it.
I know Kennedy's defence needs a lot of work, like because he's such a small body, but far out, he's silky when he gets
Isn't
moving
he?
like that.
And
yeah.
just, he goes under the radar. He's such a good footy player.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo's just, he's a guy. The two boys, like, you want to talk about wingers, hats off to him. Katoa with his 100,
Bounce back.
Ronaldo's 99, but
Because
they're
like
quality, bro.
Well, Katoa was really poor last week, so it was good to see him bounce back. Because I said the same thing about Katoa last week. He had a bunch of drop balls, and it's like it's those little things that you just don't see in the top tier sides in big games.
Yes.
Like they don't, unless you're the Broncos, which are just they're in an anomaly where they can literally have 40% possession and be up 16-0. Outside of that, most of the best sides in those big crucial moments, well, at least the Penrith Panthers and the Storm, they just nail the very simple things. They just nail it every time. So not too worried about the Sharkies. They just got to clean up a few little things where in big moments they just don't execute the basics. And then I think they'll be fine.
I hope it's a kick for the Eels because, mate, if that was over, that game, it was just pack it up. It was pack it up.
Oh,
boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
It was pack it up.
That could kickstart them. Like, they're a good team. They're a good team on paper.
are.
They've just been playing
There's no
terribly.
reason for them to be playing the way they are.
Yeah.
It looked like a totally different side. Okay, menu log. Don't forget, Luai was our hungriest player. Use code Luai for free delivery. Download the menu log app, guys. If you're going to get food to your door, use menu log. Get used to the app. It's simple to use. And as I said, every week you get a discount, free delivery. So it's like going to the store, the same cost as going to the store, but you don't have to go to the store because it's free delivery. Kiraz was our LDVT60 player of the week. The LDVT60 has 160 kilowatts of grunt, which makes it one of the most powerful utes in its class. Auto from 38990, drive away for ABN holders, 7 years / 200,000 kilometre warranty, whichever occurs first. At that price, why go second hand when you can have a brand new LDV? We've already spoken about Origin. Don't forget, KO got you covered this footy season. Every game, every round, live and ad break free during play. You'll be able to watch all 5 games this weekend. You had the Eels vs Sharks last night, and then including the 2 Saturday games exclusive to Fox League and available on KO. There's been talks, Taumalolo and the Cowboys. Taumalolo, they're a word that quite some time now, the relationship between Cowboys and Taumalolo have resurfaced again of tensions. Hooper has reported that he was told there's friction between Taumalolo and Payton. He's contracted until, doesn't say, 2027, I think. Is it 20? I think it's 27.
I'll check, sorry. I was supposed to look up that.
Look, I know they've tried to downplay this, but I honestly feel like there's been tension since day dot. It's never seemed to sit right. Ever since Payton got there and almost publicly singled out Jason Taumalolo, and I think that what they're looking at
What's
that
that
contract,
about?
I don't know. I think what Payton was trying to do initially was instead of have the team solely rely on Taumalolo, make it more of a well-oiled machine. Because before he got there, Taumalolo was everything to that side.
Yeah,
everything.
100%.
So I think he was trying to make the well-oiled machine and get Taumalolo to fit into that well-oiled machine. And look, they had a bit of success for sure. But I think the Cowboys look at Taumalolo, they look at the relationship with him and Payton, they look at that massive contract, and I think that for quite a while, they've probably made it not the best environment for Taumalolo. Purely assumption and speculation, but I reckon they would have been happy to see Taumalolo get a contract elsewhere.
I agree, and I think that they signed him in 2017. If it was 2017, 10-year deal, $1 million a year. I remember thinking at the time that is unders.
Is he one of the first? Him and Cherry.
Him and Cherry, yeah. I remember thinking that's unders because he could earn a lot more in a few more years. Obviously, didn't know COVID was going to happen, all that shit. But he could have got way bigger offers back then, and he was tied up with the Cowboys for this many years. The Cowboys should have to keep him.
Yeah, for sure. Like, of course, they should honour the contract. But I do think that...
So you think, though, this conversation is skewed towards pushing Taumalolo
For sure.
out?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. I genuinely, like, I'd be shocked if Taumalolo was just all of a sudden just been like, yeah,
I mean, he's not at the peak of his powers.
But, like, he was still ripping and tearing, like, as late as, what,
2022.
2022?
He killed it that year.
I just...
Yeah.
For a guy that's spent his whole career demolishing sides to all of a sudden, you know, just have moments where he shows it, it seems to me that I reckon he just doesn't feel loved at the moment. Like, he doesn't feel like he's a part of the team. He can't get dropped because he's too good, but at the same time, they're not going to give him as many minutes because they're trying to move him on. Like, I would be shocked if they're not trying to move him on. And I think there's a lot of teams out there going, well, you know, what is he, 30 years old now, bit banged up. Do we want to pay $1 million for, you know, a guy that's towards the end of his career?
And Townsville's not the place to be
he's
put in
30.
the corner and fill out of the loop, is it?
Yeah, so
Yeah, true.
I would be shocked if the Cowboys haven't had conversations with him, because I just think that Todd Payton, when he arrived there, that didn't suit his, relying so heavily on one player,
it makes
didn't
sense.
suit his style of play.
I get it.
He wanted a team that would offload the responsibility, but I think it's backfired a little bit. I think that when he first got there, and again, guys, we don't know the ins and outs, so this is all just pure speculation. But when he first got there, I think he made the play of almost trying to, like, bring Taumalolo back into the fold of, like, I want you to play the way I want you to play. Then when it didn't work, I think that he should have probably gone, you know what? He's going to be at this club. He takes up a massive part of my salary cap. I'm going to try and make him the best he can be. Whereas I feel like they've kind of doubled down on trying to move him on rather than go, look, he's here to stay. Let's lean into it rather than move him on. Again, that's a guess, but I reckon that's what happened.
Yeah, that's a shit environment to be around.
Mate, how many clubs have you been at where if they want to move you on, they make your life not enjoyable?
Wow.
It happens literally every single year. And you would be shocked at the amount of players that they're trying to move on, that you would never even know that this drama is happening behind the scenes.
And I don't think it's that hard to achieve. It's like all the communication shuts down and all of a sudden it becomes a very uncomfortable place to be.
There's no compliments. There's no G'ing up. There's
No chats.
well done.
Awkwardness.
Yep, like, you know, you're just completely ostracized from, you know, being treated like every other player
And
at
it's
the club.
even more obvious for a guy like Taumalolo, who has been the top
The
dog
guy.
at the club, the guy.
Yeah, so look, again, and maybe we're totally wrong, guys, and maybe it's Taumalolo that's, you know, his body's banged up, he's at the end of his career, and he's just like, you know what, I don't have much more to give. That could be a potential as well. But just in my experience in these situations, especially when you start seeing reports like this, and these reports have been popping up essentially once a year since Payton arrived.
And, like, you don't have to be genius. Like, he's on $1 million. He's got 3 full seasons left, and they're not getting the output out of him they want. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm wanting to move him on.
And that's the thing. I wonder whether that's because Payton has just never really clicked with him. And so it's a knock-on effect of Payton that doesn't suit Payton's style of footy, and Payton wants a clean out.
Where did Payton come from before?
He was at the Warriors as an interim coach.
Yeah.
And then Taumalolo's reacted to that, well, I don't want to play for this guy that doesn't even want me here, but at the same time, like, why should I be moved on?
Especially because, like, how's Taumalolo going to get a 3-year deal worth anything close to $1 million after this? Like, it's just not going to happen.
Especially when, we have to remember, he has delivered for this club friggin' ages.
And that's what I meant from before. Like, the Cowboys should have to honour it, because he could have got way more back then.
Yeah. Imagine 2017, the contracts he could have signed.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously.
And so, like, with all that said, remove what's ethically or morally right or whatever, remove that. I understand where the Cowboys are coming from as well.
Yeah.
They're looking at it going, we got this guy on $1 million, him and the head coach don't click. He's not playing as good a footy as we know he can. Like, this is smashing our salary cap that we've spoken about. I do think they need some fresh front rowers at the club. So, yeah, it's
Tough one.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. You can, even though you don't have to agree with either side, you can understand where both sides are coming from.
Yeah.
This could be dragging on for another year or two. It really could. This contract's not...
27.
2027.
If it gets worse, though.
Honestly, I think what will happen is they'll have to pay like probably $500,000 some other club will absolutely pick him up for
100%.
500 grand
Yep.
a year. I think you'll see, because like really, if Peyton has another poor year, his job's under pressure.
Yeah, it is.
So he either has to convince the board of like, look, we need to do everything to move him on so we can get someone else in to give me a fair crack at this, or he goes and Taumalolo stays. Like it's with that roster, they should not be where they're at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, tips of the week brought to you by Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed, the best betting app in all the land. You guys know the drill. They've got a bunch of specials, a bunch of pre-made multis that are outstanding. And also you can watch every game on KO. Knights versus the Doggies. Knights $1.58, Doggies $2.39. I'm going Knights.
Agreed.
Yep. Knights for me too.
Knights.
Panthers versus the Dragons. I'm going the Penny Panthers. Panthers paying $1.32, Dragons $3.40.
Wow. I'm going Panthers.
Yep. Yeah. Panthers for me. Yeah. I
Okay.
thought about it for a second, but yeah.
Dolphins versus the Raiders. Dolphins $1.59, Raiders $2.38.
I'm definitely Dolphins for this one. I think the line's 4.5. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm Dolphins. Did you see that content of Penrith Panthers on that, just with the new players coming in?
Yeah.
See the
So
content they
sick.
do? They did it. They do it well, aren't they, at
Yeah.
the moment?
Yeah.
Just of all the phone calls and the...
Oh, I
you know,
saw the
the
phone
members.
call. Yeah, it's so good.
Just
So
those little
good.
extra efforts. Like,
It's funny, like,
cool moments.
you know, obviously you appreciate those moments having been a player. It's not until you have a son, though, or a daughter where you go far out. And I cannot put into words how happy I would be if my son played like professional sport. Like I would be telling everyone that I possibly could, and they all wouldn't give a shit. And I'd go, I don't give a shit that you don't give a shit. I'm so friggin' proud.
It take you back. It took you back a little bit, eh? Like I remember that debut moment. That's a one-time deal in your life.
Yep.
You'll never feel that again.
And also, like, it's one of those situations where whether you play 300 games or one game, you're an NRL player now.
Yeah, and there was one debut.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it. All that work just to get that one game. And granted, when you have that one game, you want to play more.
Of course.
But it's that one time.
And that reflected all the work you've done to get to
Yep.
that point.
all the sacrifices your
Best.
parents made. It's crazy. So, and it's, yeah, as you said, you never get that feeling again. It's just one and done. And you'll always remember it too.
Because every other game after that, even if it is a milestone, even if it's
Yeah.
is rep footy, it's great. But that first game,
it's crazy.
the way people get around you and it,
And like think about how important that day is. Like it's your life's work. Like you have
your
literally
dream since you're a kid.
Like there's not many things that you work your whole life. Now tell me one other thing that you work your whole life for. Like if, for example, if you're a professional in whatever you do, whether it's like you're a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, a tradie, whatever it is,
I
you're
think
not.
sport might be close to the only example, bro.
That's what I'm saying. You're not practicing from a 5-year-old to be the best doctor in the world.
No.
Like you're just going through normal school systems. You go to uni or whatever. Whereas like sport is you genuinely from a 5-year-old usually, at least 3 times a week, are playing towards becoming something. It's just mental. Roosters versus the Cowboys. Cowboys paying $6.40. Roosters $1.11. I'm going Roosters.
Yeah, Roosters.
Roosters for
100%.
sure. I don't think they'll cover the line though. I reckon Cowboys with the 18 start.
Alrighty, boys, time for a quick algorithm check. What's going on in your algorithm, boys?
I'll tell you what mine is, because Eminem's dropping a song in 5 minutes actually.
Stop at 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've been looking at Detroit clocks all day. I've just been seeing old Eminem shit coming on my feed at the moment. It's been so good.
Okay, what about yourself, Sandor?
Mate, so the latest thing, we'll always talk about the skewed dessert algorithm that I go through. At the moment, it's these cottage cheese desserts, but I'll tell you a big one. Have you heard about this? The chicken base pizza.
A chicken-based pizza.
Bro, so you blend chicken, lay it down on a baking tray, it becomes a genuine pizza base.
Like
and
a
it's chicken.
like a pastry
What?
base, but it's
Yes.
Oh wow.
Bruh.
chicken. Have you tried it? You eaten it?
Not yet.
So you don't even know it's good. Looks good though. I've got a lot of UFC content in
Yeah,
my feed
that's
because
true.
Poirier and Islam Makhachev are fighting this
Who
weekend.
you going?
Islam, I reckon. Too big, too strong.
I think so. I'd love Poirier to
I
win,
want
man.
Poirier
He
so
deserves it.
bad.
And just a KO. Just smack.
And then retire.
Yeah.
Knock him out, get the belt, retire, and I never want to see you in the octagon again because your journey, they'll make a Netflix, at least a doco, if not a movie. It's one of the best journeys in UFC, especially if he gets
Yeah,
that
it
belt.
is.
Because he nearly got there, fell off. Nearly got there, fell off. and then his rivalry with Conor McGregor. Like, come on, bro.
But you have to be that good to keep getting title shots.
Bro, the people, like, okay, so the way this usually works in combat sport is like there's cycles to things. So like you got these young guys, a crop of young guys, they come through, they rise to like the top 5, they stay there for maybe a year or two, and then the young crop start fighting. As they age, they bring another young crop through to fight those aging people to A, give the younger fighters a name, and B, to obviously dethrone them and then move in as a new generation. Guys like Dustin Poirier have almost like they're a bug in the system because they've actually fed them young. Like, so they've brought young, the UFC have brought young guys up, the best of the best. They've brought them up and gone, okay, you fight Dustin Poirier because we want to give you a name, and Dustin Poirier is old and done. Tried to make him
that guy, 100%.
And he has said, get the fuck out of here multiple times. I mean, they throw him an absolute dog in his last fight, and Dustin Poirier just says, fucking get out. So at the moment, the 155 is in this really unique spot because they're all old guard. Justin Gaethje, I know he got beaten by Max Holloway, but no young guy has been good enough to dethrone this older, like, bunch of blokes. No. And that's what's so incredible about Dustin Poirier. Like, his career has been nearly over for like...
That's what I mean, bro.
5 years, bro.
To get there, lose the belt, it's very hard to get another crack. Like, you have to be doing crazy
He got there, I think he had an interim fight.
Yes.
Max, and then he got it, and then he lost it to Khabib, and now he's back there again. It is like almost impossible to do that.
Crazy.
Like even guys like Conor McGregor who reached the peaks.
Bro, and then coming back.
He lost to Gaethje.
You know what I mean?
And complete
KO. The Conor thing helped him, bro. The double Conor win, that was a big one. Cash
100%.
money too.
But it shows you like even a guy as talented as Conor haven't been able to get back up to the top.
No.
Like, it's just incredible. So I want Dustin to win, but I just think Islam too strong, too good in the wrestle.
I think so.
And
a
his
guy like
hands are
that's
pretty
just
good
getting
too.
better and better.
Yeah.
The Volkanovski era would have sharpened him up, would have forced him to go really hard on his stand-up. I just think he's too well-rounded. But you're a punch away.
Yeah,
and
always.
those new golden gloves, you seen those?
Yes. Yes. What do you reckon?
I mean, I like it. At first, I thought it was just going to be one of them. I was like, that's a distraction. Like, you can't have one person, but I think it's pretty cool.
I like the idea. I just don't reckon they should have been all gold. I think they should have had like gold.
Yeah,
like,
trimming
or something like
Apparently
that.
they've changed the glove too because now, I was hearing Makachev explain this, you can't straighten your fingers.
Oh, really?
So you can't, yeah. But he was saying because of that, because they're a bit more rigid, he reckons there'll be more cuts.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Mate,
So that was
combat
interesting.
sport's so fucking good.
Wild.
MMA, UFC is so hectic.
Best.
And like a good boxing fight, you can't beat it. You can't beat
It's funny,
it.
I don't even like follow it as close as you guys, but I've like booked a table this Sunday to watch it.
Look,
That's mad.
UFC's taken over, bro. Like,
Boxing's back though.
no, like, combat sports
Combat
taken over.
sports, 100%.
Like, because it's just too entertaining.
Wasn't that long ago there was no boxing and we weren't having chats about boxing. Now it feels like it's every month. But UFC is just banger after banger. There's a genuine like crazy card once a month.
And the beauty about UFC is like, because you don't necessarily have to support a team, you can just jump on like different athletes. Like, for example, there's a lot of West Tigers fans that are probably disengaged that don't watch West Tigers anymore because they've struggled for so long. Whereas with UFC and MMA, is you can just jump to the like, oh no, I like this fighter, so I'm going to follow him.
You like the fight.
Yeah. And also UFC, it's a lot of people's second sport as well. Like, very rarely do you find someone that's into sport in general that doesn't also like UFC.
Yeah.
But very rarely would you find someone that like loves rugby league, but also loves soccer or AFL. Maybe cricket to a degree, but usually, whereas like UFC, honestly, I reckon like eventually it'll be in the top 5 biggest sports in the world. I don't think you'll ever be able to eclipse soccer.
No.
But UFC is it's just such a good product. It's such a good product.
100%.
And like, yeah, I get all the CTE and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, consenting adults getting in there, there'll always be consenting adults that don't give a fuck and they just want to go and rip and tear. And we want to watch it. We've been watching Gladiators since fucking day dot. 2 people fighting each other.
Yep.
It's the most like...
It's in our blood.
It's in our blood. It's in our blood. Anyway... We will make sure, go to bloke.shop, get a hoodie, get a shirt, one of the shirts before they go. Also, totally forgot. Sunday, 6 p.m.
Yes.
Be following Sandor. You can announce it, mate. What's happening?
Mate, we're lucky enough to have the man back in town in Australia, Alex Pereira, UFC champion. So last time we had him in an air locker was a year ago. Very lucky, and he's just gone from strength to strength. His stocks have risen massively. We're going to give away 2 opportunities to be have a spot in a private session, one-on-one, with Alex Pereira and his coach, joining a group of people. So very cool opportunity. Get around the post, like, share, comment, make sure you're following.
Yep.
And there's going to be an opportunity to jump in the Sydney and the Brisbane activation.
Yep. So all you got to do is be ready at 6 o'clock. Be following Sandor. He'll post it, and you will have a chance to have a private session with Alex Pereira in Brisbane or Sydney. Like, that is so hectic.
Very cool.
So hectic. So that'll be Sunday at 6 p.m. Grab a jumper, grab a case of Bloke beer, give us a follow on the feed, and I'll go fuck myself.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.